Hello everyone. Today we're going to explore an astonishing discovery. What has appeared beneath the Sahara Desert could rewrite human history. Recent excavations have revealed remains of ancient civilizations that inhabited this vast region, challenging the idea that the Sahara has always been an inhospitable desert. These findings include tools, artifacts, and surprisingly, remains of structures that suggest life thrived here thousands of years ago. Before we begin, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us for more powerful content. Let's go. Human history is richer and more complex than we imagine, and each new discovery brings us closer to understanding our past. The Sahara Desert, an immense arid blanket of sand evoking immensity and sterility, has always been considered a vast geological graveyard, a place where time has stood still and life barely clings. However, beneath its shifting dunes lies a secret so monumental that its revelation not only astonishes scientists, but has the potential to rewrite human history as we know it. The story of this discovery begins not with an excavation, but with radar and patient observation from space. In 1982, during a NASA reconnaissance mission in the eastern Sahara Desert, a new technology known as synthetic aperture radar, SAR, made a discovery that was initially dismissed as an instrument error. The radar, capable of penetrating the dry, sandy surface up to several meters, detected the geological signatures of a vast network of ancient rivers, lakes, and watersheds buried beneath the dunes of the region known as the Libyan Sahara. This was not a modern body of water. It was the testimony of a green Sahara that flourished in an unimaginably distant past. The initial shock to the scientific community was the confirmation of the green desert theory, an idea that had been circulating for decades but now had tangible evidence. Radar revealed that between 130,000 and 5,000 years ago, and in intermittent cycles, the Sahara was not a desert, but a lush savanna comparable to present-day East Africa. This landscape, dotted with enormous lakes, one of them, Meghalake Chad, was larger than the Caspian Sea, and crisscrossed by massive river systems, was home to life. But the most profound revelation, and the one that truly began to rewrite human history, came when these subterranean water maps were correlated with the findings of terrestrial archaeology. The existence of this green Sahara provided the missing access route and highway of life to explain human dispersal out of Africa. Scientists realized that the desert, far from being an insurmountable barrier, was, at certain times, a paradise corridor. Subsequent studies of sediment samples taken from the beds of these paleolakes confirmed the presence of pollen, diatoms, aquatic microorganisms, and faunal remains that indicated a rich ecosystem. This environment could not only sustain life, but also acted as a biological magnet for populations of Homo sapiens migrating from Eastern and Central Africa. Human history was no longer a series of arduous migrations across hostile lands, but a timely expansion across a verdant continent. The discovery of paleo-lakes and paleo-rivers beneath the sand gave new urgency to excavations on the rocky plateaus that bordered these ancient bodies of water. What was found there exceeded the wildest expectations. Archaeologists discovered rock art in areas of the desert that are now the driest and most inhospitable. These paintings, up to 10,000 years old, depict vibrant savanna scenes, giraffes, elephants, hippopotamuses, and spear fishermen. The Sahara had documented its own ecological and human history on its rock walls, a testament that radar had helped locate. The connection between groundwater and rock art wasn't the only discovery that rewrote history. At sites like Gobero in Niger, scientists unearthed a cemetery located directly on the shore of a paleo-lake. This site, with the remains of 200 individuals, revealed two distinct human occupations. The first, about 10,000 years ago, belonged to a group known as the Kifian, tall hunter-gatherers, and the second, about 7,000 years ago, to the Tenarian, a culture that already practiced pastoralism and whose individuals were physically smaller. What surprised scientists was not only the age of these occupations in a now completely deserted area, but also the extraordinarily sophisticated funerary practices they exhibited. The bodies were buried with care, adorned with ivory jewelry and ostrich eggshells. One particularly poignant find was that of a mother and her two children buried hand in hand, with a level of ritualism and affection that suggests profound social complexity and spiritual belief at a time much earlier than previously thought possible for these latitudes. The Sahara, therefore, was not just a transit point, but a center of early civilization. The fact that such large and culturally rich populations could thrive and develop sophisticated ritual practices in what is now a relentless desert forced historians to revise the timeline of civilization. The transition from hunter-gatherer to pastoralist, a key milestone in human history, occurred in the Green Sahara in parallel, or even earlier, than what was believed to have occurred in the Fertile Crescent. The true potential to rewrite human history lies in the existence of the Nubica Mega Basin, the gigantic fossil water reserve that NASA radar helped map. It is one of the world's largest groundwater reserves, accumulated during the Ice Ages, when the climate was much wetter. This water, which is not renewable in the short term, is the last relic of the Green Sahara. The implication of this mega basin is that the water that sustained human movement and cultural development beneath the desert was not only present on the surface. Access to vast groundwater reserves may have allowed populations to overcome the periods of drought that marked the transition between the Sahara's green and arid cycles. Scientists are now investigating whether settlement patterns directly correlate with easy access to this fossil water through geological depressions. If this discovery is as surprising to you as it is to us, we invite you to like, subscribe, and follow us. This discovery isn't just a simple curiosity, it's a window into our past, and there's much more to discover about the history that unites us as humanity. Every piece we find helps us better understand who we are and where we come from. The concept of a climate clock that opened and closed the Sahara became key to understanding human chronology. When the African monsoon moved north, the desert bloomed, creating the perfect conditions for human expansion. When the monsoon retreated, the Sahara closed, isolating the remaining populations and acting as an evolutionary filter that forced humans to migrate toward the Nile Valley or across into Eurasia. The discovery beneath the Sahara Desert is, in essence, the unearthing of a lost chapter of human history. The desert, the epitome of dryness and emptiness, was actually a vital bridge and a cultural melting pot where pastoralism, art, and complex rituals flourished in the distant past. Technology, with its penetrating vision, has transformed the desert from a void into a geological archive that forces us to readjust our understanding of the ingenuity and antiquity of our roots. The dead archaeology of the Sahara is teeming with life. Every paleolake and dry river that appears on radar maps represents a starting point for exploring the origins of humanity. The fossil water beneath the dunes is tangible evidence that the desert was once a paradise, and that the ancestors who populated the planet did so by crossing one of the greatest aquatic highways ever to exist on Earth. The Sahara is no longer the end of history, but its turning point. Analysis of stone tools found on the shores of these ancient lakes revealed an extremely rapid level of environmental adaptation by early Homo sapiens. The sites show that, as the climate changed and the water receded, tools rapidly evolved from hunting large savanna mammals to fishing and gathering in the declining lakes. This technological ingenuity in the face of environmental change demonstrated humanity's resilience under extreme conditions, challenging the notion of slow, linear technological evolution. Scientists were also surprised by the speed of the climate transition. Data extracted from paleolake sediments indicate that the transition from a humid savanna to a hyper-arid desert could occur in a matter of centuries, or even decades. This rapidity of environmental collapse explains why the remains of the Green Sahara remained so sealed beneath the sand, thus preserving a pristine record of life that once existed, ready to be revealed by radar technology. The geological discovery beneath the desert had direct implications for Egyptology. The civilization of ancient Egypt, which developed in the Nile Valley, was no longer seen as an isolated cultural phenomenon. Scientists now postulate that waves of migration from the Green Sahara to the Nile, forced by the advance of aridity, contributed human populations and possibly the cultural foundations that laid the seeds of Egyptian civilization. The Sahara was not foreign to Egypt. It was its ancestor. The study of ancient DNA extracted from human remains at sites like Gobero added another layer to this historical revision. Genetic analyses suggested that these Green Sahara populations were related to those who would later disperse throughout West and North Africa, making the Sahara a focal point in the human family tree. The history of migration must be redrawn with the green roots that radar has brought to light. Finally, the discovery acts as a climate warning for the present. The rapid desertification and collapse of vast ecosystems that the Sahara has repeatedly experienced, now documented by science, serve as a disturbing mirror to the threats of contemporary climate change. What has emerged beneath the desert is not only ancient history, but a geological lesson about the vulnerability of terrestrial ecosystems. The Sahara Desert, with its secrets of water and life revealed, has transformed from a symbol of the immutable into a dynamic record that demands a profound reconsideration of human history and its fragile dependence on climate. We sincerely thank you for joining us on this fascinating exploration of what was found beneath the Sahara Desert. This place, which has witnessed countless civilizations over the centuries, holds secrets that could change our understanding of history. What other wonders and mysteries might be hidden in its sands? If you enjoyed this content and it left you wanting more, please like, subscribe, and follow us. This way, you'll be up to date on our upcoming videos, which will be full of surprising revelations and facts that are sure to leave you thinking. Until next time, and may curiosity always accompany you on this journey of discovery.